game out for amateurs as we proceed. We go hard in the paint like maroon we bleed. MAC, go deep and going wild we'll see. 93.3 every week, cover every piece, down to every deep. Athletes on the show just to share their piece. Style Marauders, now we'll come harder. Mondays at 9 a.m. the game started. The game start up in CFMU. Tune in now to see what we do. Hey son, no, stats, recaps, and interviews on the show. Coming straight from the 905, our time, your march. Let's do this right, you're live.
Welcome inside Marauder Radio, everyone. It is Marshall Ferguson in studio with you on this Monday morning. Wonderful day outside, nice fall morning. It's starting to get a little bit chillier. All the leaves are starting to fall down. We are not far away from it being a solid winter time. Have a lot of great things planned for you on the show today. First, I want to mention Marauder Radio is brought to you by the home of the original Buffalo Wing and Hump Day Wednesday Anchor Bar located in downtown Hamilton at Jackson Square. It was a successful weekend for women's basketball for the Marauders. The men, maybe not so much. We'll get into that in a little bit. But I do have somebody on the line with me right now who is very familiar with the women's basketball scene here at Mcmaster. And I don't want her to have to wait any longer. So I'm going to bring her on right now. Hailey Milligan, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself? I'm
doing very well. It's great to have you on. For those of you that, pretty sure everybody's pretty familiar with Hailey's career here at Mac, but I wanted to give some background on it. Well, I could. Career stats for Hailey while she was at Mac. 2,300 minutes played, over 950 field goal attempts, 1,250 points. Hailey, that's a lot. 880 rebounds, best all time at Mcmaster. 95 blocks, 88 steals. Now, I was going through your career stats at Mac, and I noticed out of all of the field goal attempts you had, 950 in your career, there was 1 3. What happened?
It was probably the end of a shot clock.
And the shot clock...
It was not at 3.
And you're fading somewhere outside of the key. You were roaming wildly. Teresa was screaming at you, and you just grabbed it and threw it up. Is that what happened?
I'd like to believe that it was planned, but it was probably a shot clock winding down, and bottom was probably double teamed and had to kick out somewhere, and I was the biggest target she could probably find.
Who was your favorite teammate to play with when you were at Mcmaster?
Vanessa Bonomo.
Bonomo was your favorite because I know you had several great guards that you played with in your time here, right? Like
I did. Yeah, playing with V, she just had such a court sense, and her ability to find the post and being an undersized point guard, I think that she did so much for my game, and was able to kind of, help kind of coach me through, and I know that she's coaching now, and it was just phenomenal playing with her. I think that another one of my favorites would have been Taylor Sherratt. She's one of my best friends, just being able to play that high-low game with her. Danielle Boyaga, who's the current face of the program, she was phenomenal to play with. I've definitely had my fair share of talented teammates.
Yeah, the thing I always think of too is you're talking about that high-low game with you and Taylor Sherratt and also Vanessa, and I know Taylor's gone into a bit of coaching as well now. You might be the only one left playing because all of your other teammates have gone into coaching because you were such a smart team. I remember when I first got to Mcmaster, and I really, I didn't understand the quality of OUA women's basketball until I got here. And I'm looking and I was seeing the play designs and the intricacies and just the focus and how locked in you guys were. And you went through a tough couple of seasons with injury yourself personally and a couple of your teammates. But every time you guys battled back and fought, is that something you're proud of from your Marauder career?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that injuries, as much as they suck, they really kind of help you see that next perspective because now you're on the sideline. So it almost gives you more of a coaching perspective. So Liz Burns is currently coaching, Taylor's coaching, Vanessa's coaching, Lisa Marie Ivoroni is coaching. Like people that I played with my entire career at Mac, being able to see that, basketball doesn't end when your varsity career ends. And I went one way, and knowing that I'm going to circle back around and either coach with my older teammates or maybe coach against. That's another exciting part of basketball. That continued development.
Oh, I look forward to watching any team that is coached by a bunch of ex-Marauders, especially you ladies that did so well while you were here. For those of you that don't know, Hailey is now playing Division I basketball and correct me when I say this wrong because I'm going to, Strakomice?
Strakonice.
Okay, Strakonice in the Czech, small town, hour and a half south of Prague. If you'd like to watch any of her games in action, now you've described this to me. The website is tvcom.cz. There's archived games there. And you said that you actually go back and watch some of the film through that. Do you have film external of that, or is that your go-to breakdown to watch how to get better?
As an individual, that's where I go. But as a team, we watch film. So we'll watch film after a game. We'll watch film of our opponents before we play them. It's a little bit different in the sense that we're not really writing everything down and going through exact play phases.
Right.
It's more so, okay, this is what this team likes to run and this is what we want to take away from them. And then as a professional, you're expected to be able to kind of take that and flip it into what you need and be able to perform. So it's very much more of individual base. You're expected to do your job and they're not going to spoon feed you anything. So that's a little bit of a difference that I found, but we still do scout and watch film. And
what is the difference in the coaching approach from your coaches now in the Czech versus here at Mcmaster when when you're planning for somebody like you're saying, what is the difference in, you have a moment when you're preparing for another team and you say, this is really A, weird, or B, just very different from what I'm used to?
It's very different. In terms of language barriers, my coach does not speak any English.
Really?
So as like my bench boss or my head coach, not being able to kind of have that communication with them is very stressful at times. He knows my name, so when he says my name, I'm like, I don't know sometimes if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I know enough about basketball. I know enough about basketball that I can kind of figure it out. But for instance, our team, we flat hedge off of ball screens. Yep. So for those who don't know what that means, as a ball screen set, as the post, my job is to protect the rim from a layup. So the guard may get an open shot. So for when we were first kind of going through that system, it was really difficult because I didn't know how high he wanted me. Am I low? Am I, stunting, recovering? So that was a little bit frustrating, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, the communication is one of the biggest differences because I could always communicate, for the most part, with my coaches at Mac.
Right.
In terms of practices, with Coach Burns, we would really kind of do breakdown. So, so if we're looking for this kind of shot out of this offense, we would run half court sets finding that shot. And if this is taken away, this is what we look for.
Right.
Now it's kind of like, this is your system. And if it's taken away, you are expected to find the next shot. It's not scripted anymore. It's very like, if you're overplayed, you go back door. And you're not told. You're just kind of put out there and you play. You make it work. When
you're first learning the new systems and you're talking about the language barrier, how much of it is the coach just grabbing you by the shoulders and walking you to the place he wants you to be?
As funny as that sounds, that did happen.
Yeah.
And there's a couple girls, one of our captains actually played basketball in the States for 1 year. So she does speak pretty fluid English. So for her, she kind of has the role of translating. So in practice, I always kind of make sure that I'm near her. So, and the thing too is you always want to look at your coach when they're talking to you, whether it's pregame, postgame, timeout in practice. And I find myself looking at her because I've got no idea what he's saying. And so I'm kind of like, my head's kind of turned and I'm trying not to be disrespectful, but I need to know what's happening. And even when he's drawing things on the board, sometimes I'm just like, what is that? That's not basketball, whatever's on that board.
Yeah. I'm trying to imagine a lost in translation, situation like, Tom Hanks from Krakosia in the terminal. But, you talked as well that you have a Division II men's team,
yes.
in the same city. And I want to know kind of how big is Czech basketball in terms of development, because I looked it up. Last qualified for the Euro tournament in Slovenia in 2013 went 2-3, finishing 13th among 24 teams. And I don't know that I've really ever seen a Czech team in an overly relevant situation. So I'm kind of wondering, from your perspective of being there for a while now and being involved in the basketball scene, how big is it?
Basketball is a huge sport here. And one thing that really did surprise me is the amount of supporters that we have for our team. Being in a smaller community, like I wasn't really sure. One of our older players, she helps coach and like run stuff in school. So I've been fortunate enough to be able to experience that, and it's really cool to see those kids at our games. After warm-ups for our home games, there's several like younger teams that come out and watch us, and one team gets picked to walk out with us. So, you know, in soccer, how they all hold the kids' hands and walk out, we do that.
Awesome.
And it's our young girls. And if anyone's familiar with what I'm most passionate about with youth and working with kids, like these are younger girls being able to watch, you know, older girls playing basketball at a professional level. And we don't have that in Canada. We have amazing university athletics and college athletics, but we don't have women's professional development. So here, these girls get to see that in their hometown, in the gym that they practice in. They get to hold our hands as we walk out and high five everyone, and they get to be part of that atmosphere. And for me, I think that that's huge for the development. My head coach is the assistant coach for the women's Czech national team. So he, in terms of the way our practices are run very well. It's very strategic. Everything makes sense. I was a little bit nervous that if I came out, you know, to another country, I'd just be like, what's happening here? Because the basketball in sense is very different because everybody's a shooter. Right. Everybody's a scorer. Everybody can rebound. So you're playing against, in Canada, sometimes, you know, not that a game was a break or a day off, but I would have like, okay, I'm not guarding the post because I need to take away this shot every single time. Right. Or I need to help this person out. Now it's like, I need to be able to guard one-on-one from the three-point line. I need to be able to stop a fast break. I need to be able to defend. So there's a lot more that's required of me being here. But in terms of the basketball, like last night, I guarded a phenomenal Czech player. She's 6'2" and plays like Danielle Boyago.
Really? So,
I mean, the development is there, and Czech is definitely known on the world stage for women's basketball. Canada came here for their pre-tournament before they went off to Turkey for the Worlds. And so Czech and Canada really went back and forth when they were in Czech. In Turkey, Canada had the upper hand, which go Canada. Yep. And my coach, when I first met him, that was the first thing that he said. So, I mean, the development here is there. Yeah. It's available. There's sometimes before practice, there's 30 girls around the ages of 12 to 15 playing in our gym.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, the development in Czech is definitely there, and especially for my league, it's a very competitive league.
Yeah, that's very
every single day is a hard game.
That's very interesting. It's like you're guarding the Czech female LeBron James last night, large but can move and dribble, like you're saying about trying to move around like Danny Boyago on our team here. But I looked it up as well. The only NBA player, I looked up notable Czech players I can remember. Do you know who the only Czech player in the NBA right now is for men?
No. I know that there's a lot in FIBA. Yep. But not in the NBA.
See, I expected there would be posters of this man everywhere around the Czech. It's Jan Vasily. Are you familiar with that name at all?
No, I'm not.
You're not? You should look up, pretty much any time that you search Jan Vasily, it's going to come up with a YouTube video. He formerly played in the Turkish Basketball League, actually. Okay. And he was drafted in the first round, 6th overall in 2011 in the NBA by the Washington Wizards. Wow. And he's been around with them for a bit. He is in Denver now. But when you search him on YouTube, the point I'm getting to is he became famous because he got picked 6th overall. He stood up. His girlfriend was with him in New York at the NBA draft. She stood up, and they just made out on national TV for awkwardly 5, 6, 7, 8 seconds. And he became, that was his claim to fame for a little bit. But anyways, he is the only Czech player that I am familiar with. Anyways, but you mentioned your work with young female athletes and your passion for doing that. You did a lot of great work. I know I always admired it as a varsity athlete here, the amount of time and effort you put in, and I don't know where you found the time to do as much as you did, but with Mcmaster Athletes Care, because I know how busy our schedules can be when you have to be in meetings and practice and all that. Have you had any chance to work directly with youth over there and help spread the game?
I've been fortunate enough to go to one of the schools. And I was there for a couple hours on one Friday afternoon before practice, and got to meet some of the kids. Got to do like a little bit of basketball with them. The younger girls and boys know a little bit more English, so it was still fun and challenging to kind of work with that language barrier with the common ground of basketball. And then, so these are the kids who also come out to the games. And so after the games, they're all excited to see us. And, the one little girl loves the pre-wrap that I wear in my hair. So every time I see her, I make her a new little headband, and she doesn't speak very good English. Her name is Sasha. But I always give her my headbands, and she just loves it. So, I mean, the opportunities are there. So I'm going to be going again this Friday, to go see the kids again. And they ask about us, and my introduction was Hailey from Canada, blah, blah, blah. She plays basketball. The first question I got was, do you play basketball? The second question I got was, do you like pizza? So, I mean, they're working on their English, and it's a very good opportunity for me to work on my Czech. Yeah. So, it's really cool. Sasha actually, is, I think around like 5 or 6, and she can count to 12 in English. Yep. So I kind of took that as a challenge that if Sasha can do it, then I need to be able to do it. So I worked on counting to 10 in Czech, and we'll see if I can get above that.
What's the coolest word that you can say to me in Czech right now that won't be translated into something dirty?
Oh. Well, grandma sounds dirty, but it's not.
What is it?
Grandma is babička.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, I don't think I can call my grandma
that.
Yeah,
I know. That's amazing that sounds like that, but that's funny. You mentioned a funny question that you had, which reminded me of a story. I went and visited Right to Play a couple of weeks ago, at a public school up on the mountain, St. Luke's, and, there was a young boy when we were doing the question period at the end, which I know you're familiar with, is always the best part of going to talk. Yeah, to talk to the kids, because it's the most fun. There was one young man who looked like he was one of the youngest in the school, had his hand up, and he was doing the typical like, ooh, 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 for a solid 5 minutes while I'm asking all these other kids, what they'd like to ask me. And eventually at the very end, I'm like, okay, we have, time for 2 more questions. Yep, right here in the front row. What's your name, buddy? I'm John. Hi, John. I'm Marshall. What can I answer for you? Do you have a girlfriend? And I thought that was the funniest thing, just standing there, because then the whole school just lost it. So, I know what you mean. It is a lot of fun to, get out and have fun with those kids and get them to ask you some silly questions. But you mentioned to me as well this morning, men's handball. Mm-hmm. Big there. Tell me about it.
It's huge. They have their own stadium. Like, they don't even use the basketball court. Like, they have their own area just for men's handball. I'm very fortunate where my apartment's within walking distance to everything. So I'm like less than, 6 minutes away from the gym. Right beside the gym is the handball. Right beside the handball is an outdoor track. So where we are is like a very kind of athletic kind of tone to it. Yeah. Yeah, handball. It was crazy. It was so cool. I've never seen it before in my life. That's awesome. I played it, in like PE class, but it was nothing like what we saw. It's very physical. People are everywhere. Like, people are yelling at refs. The fans have drums. There's a mascot. They're called the Strakanise Ravens. So, they had like a big raven running around. It's been really cool to experience the culture here as well. And, I know that like soccer or European football is very big here too. We drove by one of the stadiums when we went to play in Prague, and the stadium was huge. It was so big, and it's just for soccer. So, experiencing the culture here has been really cool too.
The Prague is pretty well known for its kind of incredible architecture and the way that the city is designed. Is it as enjoyable as everyone says it is that travels there?
I haven't been able to like experience Prague as a tourist yet. My schedule is very demanding. We practice almost every day. For instance, we just played yesterday and didn't get home until after midnight, and we've got practice tonight at 6. I used to kind of have like, I maybe have one day off. Since I've been here, I haven't had a weekend. Wow. Off. So definitely being a professional basketball player is about the job first. So I haven't been able to tour around that much. I've been able to kind of go around my city and like things really close. But outside of that, I haven't been able to do any sightseeing, but I can tell you that there are castles everywhere.
Really?
And I know my old teammates, Claire Kenny and Rachel and Siobhan and Danny, they dressed up as Disney princesses for Halloween. And so every time I see a castle, I try and take a picture and post it for them because there is something magical about it. It's really cool. But the castle that is here was used as a torture chamber, so
oh yikes,
not so magical, but still really cool.
It's like Disney, but only for the parents. So pretty much, it's the same thing. You mentioned your some of your ex teammates there. They had a pretty good weekend.
They had a great weekend.
Yeah, they went down to Ottawa. I'm wondering, how much are you able? I know you keep in touch with them, socially because they are your friends. But how much do you keep tabs on Max Sports now that you are gone?
Sometimes with the time difference, it's difficult.
Yeah.
So, for instance, like on Tuesdays and Thursdays, we've got 2 practices a day, 1 in the morning, 1 at night. So I can't stay up late. This past weekend, we didn't play till Sunday. So I was able to watch a little bit of the Carleton game, for my Mac women's team. And I watched all the Ottawa games. So, and I congratulated Mac football headed to the Yates Cup. I was able to catch the end of that. So that was really exciting. Am I back?
Yeah, you're good. Sorry, you were chopping up on me.
Just saying, I was able to watch the end of okay. Am I back now?
All good. All good.
Okay, so I was able to catch the end of the Mac football game, headed to the Yates Cup, so that was really exciting to be able to watch. OUA TV has kind of made my life a lot easier trying to stream and find things. So yeah. I really wish they had that when I played, but I mean, it's even cooler now that I can watch and not be on the screen. So I definitely have been keeping track of my girls and talking with them and trying to still give them, my advice. I'm still very much into the program and wanting to see it develop and help. And so a lot of those girls I played a couple years with, so I just do have those strong relationships on and off the court with them.
That's fantastic. Time is not our friend. I have one last question for you. What is the best part of being away from home, and what is the toughest part being away from your regular confines?
I think the toughest part is like lacking that touch, like being able to go home and like hug my mom or like see my cat or my sister. And so I think that that's kind of the hardest part, like breaking that routine. The funnest part though is basketball is my job. So, I mean, before being a student athlete, it'd be like, oh, I have to go to class and I have to go to work and then I have to volunteer and go to the Boys and Girls Club and then I have to somehow like have enough energy to go to practice. Now my focus is the court. And I felt like I was really, really, really busy my last couple years at Mac, and now I've kind of been able to take a step back and be like, okay, what is really important to me when I come back home? What do I want to do? How do I want to do it? So I've kind of been able to take a mental break and really think about what's important to me and where I want to be. Like, do I want to continue to work at Mac? Do I want to continue to work at the Boys and Girls Club? Can I still see myself in Hamilton? The answers to those are all yes. But the type of role that I want to have has been really cool.
That's fantastic. Well, we wish you all the best, Hailey. Thank you for joining me. It's been a pleasure to talk with you. We're watching you all over here and we're wishing you the best. So all the best, all the best moving forward, and we will check in with you sometime soon. When do playoffs begin for your Division I league?
Playoffs don't start until March.
Cool. Well, we will check in sometime around then or before then and let you, we'll see how you're doing again. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Excellent.
Go
Thanks.
Mac.
Yeah. Thanks so much. That is Hailey Milligan from the, ex-Marauder women's basketball. We're going to play a quick ad for you right now, and we will be right back with a bit of your breakdown of the weekend Marauder action from around the OUA.